Alrighty, 12:04, so we can get rolling on this. Welcome again to the Wilmington Tableau user group. Again, we are virtual for this quarter. Eventually, we'll like to get back to the in-person events, but as of now, it's not a safe option for us. And this also allows us to broaden our reach as people are able to come and join from wherever they happen to be at the time.
All right. Can someone confirm that they can see big green slide?
I can see it.
Perfect. All right. So hi, everyone. I'm John Miller. I'm a data and analytics consultant with Thorogood. I've been working with Tableau for about 3 years now. I think it's a really great tool from the visualizations you can make, kind of the ease of use in being able to pick it up if you're relatively new to it. And then also the Tableau community that I frequently turn to if I'm trying to explore different techniques or learn how to do different visuals. So today I'll be talking through the latest beta release of Tableau 2021.3. All right, so we'll go through kind of high-level summary of the updates and then get into talking about what each one specifically is, and then wrap it up and then open it up for discussion. So every quarter or thereabouts, Tableau has a pre-release for the next version of their products where they're just trying to get user buy-in, and users can sign up to help review new features, detect bugs, provide feedback. The amount of changes released at any time can vary widely and just sort of depends on what initiatives Tableau's internal developers are undertaking. In this quarter, there were 8 features. You can see them on the screen here that have been included, and they kind of have a range of different touch points in the Tableau architecture. There's not necessarily any guarantee that the features in the beta will make it into the public release, but it's just our best insight into what Tableau is trying to improve for its users. So I'll give a brief overview of each of these, and hopefully by the end of the presentation, you'll better understand what might be coming in the next Tableau release, and maybe even be looking forward to some of these updates. So we can dive in here. So it was previously limited to just being used for migrations between Tableau server projects. The content migration tool is now being expanded to include Tableau Online as well. So that means that the content migration tool can be used to move workbooks and data sources between Tableau server and Tableau Online, or within Tableau server or Tableau Online. The content migration tool allows you to retain the owners and permissions from your source and your new destination. So that can just alleviate any of the headaches of having to grant users the appropriate permissions again every time you were to move where you're storing the workbooks and data sources. This final update as part of the content migration tool, I think is pretty cool, is instead of just like a direct copy paste of an entire project, they're saying that now you'll be able to select specific content to migrate and transform the content during the migration. So you don't just have to select all and copy it over and worry about parsing it down. And you can also see this being particularly useful if, say, you're planning a migration from Tableau server to Tableau Online, so you can take advantage of having Tableau host your solutions for you. But you also have kind of business deliverables that the business wants upgrades to these dashboards. Instead of having to try and do them in series and either make the updates first or do the migration and then make the updates, you should be able to kind of effectively do them in parallel and reduce the time to delivery of those dashboards to the new location. So I thought that was pretty neat. The next tool we have is, or the next update we have is regarding custom samples. So for years, you've been able to add custom color palettes to a specific directory with the important goal that companies have specific branding that they want implemented on all the content that they create. It's a great way for companies to help make meaningful visuals for their own needs. But sample like workbooks, sample data sets, like you've kind of just been limited to Superstore, which probably everyone on this call is familiar with, regional workbook, and world indicators workbook. So these are predetermined workbooks that are available, and you can connect to them when you open up desktop. You can test out different techniques without really having to worry about connecting to your actual data or making sure you have permissions or incorrectly using something. So kind of like a ready to use dev environment built directly into Tableau desktop. So this is a useful feature, but if the data that you are actually going to be working on live isn't really represented in the data that's here, how are you supposed to be certain that like a new technique that you're trying out is going to work and provide the same value if you're just trying to draw a parallel between your work and what you're doing in the Superstore data. With the latest update, now much like adding a custom color palette, you can add your own sample workbooks based on any TWBX file that you're working with. You'll need to configure your system to enable custom sample feature, and then also create a local directory. Then there's an installation step where you can define where that local custom directory is. But after those two steps, you can upload the workbooks to that local directory. And then when you open up Tableau desktop, you'll see more workbooks pop up here along with Superstore, regional, and world indicators. Next up here, so subscribing to dashboards is a great way for end users to stay up to date with their important insights. Instead of having to check the published version, they just get an email letting them know when the data has been refreshed. This update adds the functionality of data quality warnings to your subscription emails. So instead of just, hey, there's new data, it's now, hey, the data quality might be a little suspect. For this to work, you need to have Tableau catalog enabled on your Tableau site and turn this feature on. Then, like before, you publish workbooks to a site and set a data quality warning on a specific table. So in the table on the site, just click on the ellipses and set the data quality warning. After subscribing to either specific view or to an entire workbook and setting your email frequency, you'll be able to see data quality warnings in your email, just like if you open up a dashboard that has the data quality warnings on them, you get that alert there. A similar alert would show up in the emails that you have. This can help you identify issues faster so you can try and fix things. It will also help reduce the risk of someone referring to incorrect data or data that might have some data quality warnings. Since this is a data management feature, you do need to have a data management license enabled on your server to configure it, but presumably someone at your organization would have those rights. Description inheritance. So for a description inheritance, this feature is going to help with the experience of working across different Tableau tools from Tableau desktop to Tableau online by maintaining descriptions when using web authoring from published data. While it's kind of a trivial update, in my opinion, compared to some of the other changes, it's clearly Tableau's way of trying to focus on interoperability and maintaining clarity for users. With this update, you can publish a workbook and then add a column description for a table that connects with it. Within web authoring then, you can go in and create a new workbook connected to the same table. And if you hover over the field that you added your description to, you'll be able to see it. So it's really just to help maintain clarity when web authoring to ensure that you're using the correct field from the published data sets that you have. If you're not familiar, BigQuery is Google Cloud's enterprise data warehouse. And while you're able to connect to it before, it was lacking the ability to use service accounts. So service accounts are a common approach that development teams take to build dashboards and visualizations that are impervious to disruptions in personal connections. So that's like someone leaving the team, and then you lose their connection to the data sets. So the use of service accounts is also commonly used when publishing dashboards so viewers can interact without having to log into the source system. Take advantage of this feature. A user that has the correct permissions to create and manage service accounts will need to add the service account as a saved credential under Google BigQuery. Then when you need to add a connection to Google BigQuery, you specify to use a service account and browse for the stored credential. These stored credentials come from Google BigQuery, and they can be downloaded into a JSON file. You'll want to specify this file when it asks for the file path, and after that, you have the connection established to pull data from your BigQuery resource using a service account. So I see this as Tableau's recognition that service accounts are a common development practice, and that Tableau's ability to interoperate with multiple different data sources will make it an attractive option when potential customers are considering what tool they want to use for data visualization. This is even kind of more valuable and more topical as many businesses are adopting multi-cloud approaches. So being able to use a service account here, you can use service accounts with many other data warehousing tools. Instead of providing access to users on all different systems, you kind of just maintain a single service account for each storage solution, and then provide users that service account to use during their development. In Tableau Prep, you can create flows to process your data for you before you even load it into Tableau Desktop. Now Tableau have released this new feature that allows you to link separate flows and have them run one after another. To set this up, you have to just turn on the feature in the server and then on any individual sites that you have. Once it's on, then you can add a scheduled task within your desired flow. You click on the link task menu there, and you'll notice that the flow that you opened is the first task, and then you can configure kind of when you want that to run, etc. And you can set what you want to happen if it succeeds or if it fails. But then the important part of this update is now there's that add new task button, so you can have it call additional flows, and hopefully this kind of update will help simplify maybe what could be a complex flow. If you had to put all the pieces together, you can kind of start to break some of them out and modularize it a little by just having this linked task call the different flows in series that you want it to run. Another prep feature here, this one allows you to fill in missing values in a series of integers or data or dates, or create new rows between a range of dates. Within prep, you'll see the add new rows step as something that you can add in your flow window. And you can specify the configuration on the step on the subsequent menus that are shown here. It seems like right now, based on some of the feedback on the pre-release, that there's some known issues with this feature, as the value for all the rows just gets copied down instead of following what you select. So it still needs to be worked out a bit, I think. In most cases, I would say that adding additional rows to your data should definitely be carefully considered, as you may impact the meaning of the data. And I would say it's important to understand why your source data is missing these values in the first place before just going in and adding additional data. Renaming published data sources, as it sounds, it will let you rename published data sources. Beyond just changing the name of the one data source though, any workbook using the data source will get the updated name automatically. On your published data source, you'll want to click on more actions and the ellipses and then choose rename. Rename dialog box pops up. You can type in the new name, and then once it's successful, you get the success message. So I can see this coming in handy when you say want to rebrand a particular data source, If your team name has changed, or in the example here, that's from the pre-release, Salesforce acquiring Tableau has prompted a change. So instead of having the Tableau employee data set, they want it to be Salesforce employees. So instead of having to go down and republish under a new name and then update any downstream usages of that new data set, you can simply just kind of make this single change here and then focus on other more important activities. So I'll just share this screen again to remind you of the different updates that we've discussed. I definitely recommend getting involved in the pre-release program. If you aren't already, you can just kind of sign up for it with your Tableau account. And that way you can stay up to date on some of the latest features Tableau is testing out. I'd say personally, I'm most excited for the custom samples, Big Google or Google BigQuery accessibility, and probably the link tasks in prep. Those kind of spoke to me the most. Be interested if any of them were of particular interest to you guys. You can always feel free to get in touch with me or my colleagues Sarah and Archana, who are also on the call. Love to talk to you more about what you think of the new features and how it'll impact your work. Thank you. Any questions, any comments, anything? That I can stop sharing. Is anyone involved in the pre-release program? Does anyone go through the pre-release beta versions? All right. That's not anything too surprising. They are sometimes something that just takes up more time when you have other pressing matters to work through. So I think now in the timeline, we're kind of opening it up to just general discussion, networking, anything else. I know we've lost a few people after the link kind of crashed there. Anyone want to share anything that they're working on? Any questions that they have?
I got my example to work that didn't.
Nice. That's good. It always happens though. It didn't work obviously because you were presenting, and then
Right.
after, when you don't need it to work, it'll probably work perfectly for you. That's good. Hi, Judy.
Hi, Judy Abruzzese from the University of Delaware. I just wanted to thank you for hosting today. I don't know if you all noticed, but the University of Delaware kind of bombarded your meeting today. We chose to attend today instead of having our regular on-campus user group that we have on Thursdays, supporting our central analytic platform. So we all voted as a group to come and represent the University of Delaware today at the Wilmington Tug. So thank you very much. We did lose a lot of our colleagues and when the link crashed, but probably not a lot to contribute today, but looking forward to actively participating in these on a quarterly basis.
Great. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, usually, or when they were in person, they were hosted down in Wilmington, so not too far from you guys. So
I did have the opportunity to attend one in person before all of our lives changed.
Yeah.
So we're always very excited about the features and the new releases, but we're always correspondingly very disappointed that they're tied to the data catalog feature, which at this point is prohibitively expensive for our central analytic platform. So in our environment where things are central, there are typically just a handful of people who are concerned with those data quality issues, and it's unfortunate that we have to scale it to the entire user base in order to leverage that functionality.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else? if not, I'll ask a follow-up question to Judy. So what kind of analytics are you doing at University of Delaware? Is it for kind of internal, like just trying to track metrics for how University of Delaware is doing? Is it to help with coursework or anything else in like the advanced analytics program, if there is one, or computer science program or anything like that?
So I'll start answering, and then Randy Oswald can fill in the blanks where I kind of omit any. So we have a central analytic platform, which is hosted through our Office of Institutional Research, but it is scaled to the entire campus community, and it covers all things from student enrollment, admissions metrics, student financial aid, tuition revenue. So we have a Redshift data lake that we reference. We use a Tableau partner, Helio Campus, as our integrator. So we're replicating our 3 PeopleSoft instances on a nightly basis, and Tableau and the Redshift data lake allows us to have those 3 talk to each other in a way that they weren't able to prior. So that way we can scale it to the entire campus. So it really is a little bit of everything at this point. Our initial focus was primarily on models related to student metrics.
Cool.
Randy?
Yeah, I think you hit all the major points here. We are doing a lot of work with HR as well, and starting to work more with finance. We've kind of taken a hybrid approach where we're building a lot centrally, but also trying to get the analysts, which have a very diverse experience across campus, on and being able to help them help themselves. So some people we have a few people that have experience with Tableau. We have a lot of very proficient Tableau or Excel and other analytical users and things like that. And so showing them the parallels and the power so that they can and kind of build custom data models for them so that they can get the data and the analytics that they need. So it's really exciting. It's been a lot of fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'd like to add that, if you are in the need of subject material for future user groups, we would be really interested in use cases for row level permissions, because oftentimes those are the things that are limiting our ability to get data into people's hands.
Yeah, definitely. Always open to new topics or anything, or if you guys have stuff you want to present on it, I'd always be open. So would you say that, I have multiple questions, I guess. First question, have you found difficulty in getting people to kind of recognize that there is stuff beyond Excel? I've noticed that a lot of clients, people that have Excel processes don't want to switch, whether it's to Tableau, whether it's to Power BI, whether it's to Click. They like Excel.
I definitely would say that our user base is heavily Excel oriented, because that's what their make it work solution has been for many years, piecing data parts together, from various systems on campus. So what we instead do, instead of looking at that as a hindrance, we kind of use that as a means for translating people to the platform. So like, you can rock this pivot table, wait till you can see what you can do with Tableau. That's the message we like to send, because really it is making their lives a lot easier. You don't need all those VLOOKUPs. We're piecing this data together for you, and it's much more performant.
Nice. Second question that I had, just curious about how you guys operate. So I know you're trying to get it to different user groups and things like that. Would you say you are more on the back end doing the data modeling, or are you building out dashboards for, say, the HR team to use?
Because of our, we spun up a concurrent data governance process that kind of stalled with our transition to our COVID response. So we're very mindful that we are the facilitators in our department with Essential Analytic Platform, but we are by no means the owners of the data. So we are always deferring to the data owners for access decisions. I forget what the original question was already.
It was just around where in the Tableau process, from like data modeling to building the visuals or et cetera.
So our group is heavily involved with the data modeling. And we have, where we are able, some distributed dashboard development. We definitely would like to have more of that, knowing that we have limited resources within our department. So our goal is to transition to more independent kind of exploration of the data, and then at the institutional level, kind of formalizing anything that is intended for broad scale distribution. So for insights specific to a department or a functional area, we would definitely want people to be able to explore the data on their own, because that's the way they've been able to do it with using Cognos. But for anything that's going to be distributed university-wide, or most definitely anything that is going to be distributed for official reporting or to government reporting or any kind of compliance reporting, we have a formal process that brings that back through our department for kind of certification.
Cool. Anyone else have questions for the University of Delaware team? Is anyone else on the call not from University of Delaware other than Dawn?
Hey, John, I'm not from the University of Delaware, but appreciate you and Dawn and Judy sharing all your experiences. I do have a question, if that's okay. Just a little different. We are in the process of moving from Tableau server on-prem to Tableau online, and just curious if anybody has that experience, and if you could share anything about the process and how it worked. I just would appreciate any guidance on that, if anybody has any experience.
I personally do not, but I know others in my company have.
Okay.
So I can definitely, if you want to reach out to me, I only see your name as OQ57.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kim DiTrolio. Yeah, I don't know why it came up like that. We typically don't use Zoom, so it must have just picked up my user ID.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's Kim. I'm from the Commerce Company in Wilmington.
Alrighty. I think I should be able to find you from the registration list. So we can go from there. I'll reach out internally and try and set something up just to let you pick our brains for a bit.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. Tableau has been pushing us to a third-party partner, and we're trying to manage as much as we can ourselves before we, commit to another.
Yeah, definitely.
Another party. So yeah, just appreciate any insight.
Yep, for sure.
Thanks.
Anybody else want to share anything? Anyone else have questions? Anyone doing anything exciting in Tableau? Anyone doing anything exciting this weekend? Not in Tableau?
Tableau is always exciting. I'll throw another question out there if you don't mind.
Go for it.
Since it's been quiet. I constantly come up against a pushback for the use of Tableau in place of Power BI. So, again, just, if anybody has any experience, how do you, I've been using Tableau actually since 2007. And that it was well before there was a Power BI, right? It was Excel and Tableau is all I really knew. But, Power BI is now kind of the new up and coming tool, and, it comes with the Microsoft suite, and I'm constantly getting pushback with why are we using Tableau? Why aren't we using Power BI? So again, just curious if anybody has any insight or how they kind of work with that.
I have seen similar instances at other clients that we work with where management is seeing Tableau as an additional cost of when they already have Power BI. I think the key thing to recognize is that they are different tools, so they do different things well, and also consider the skills that you have within your organization that people have, because if everyone knows Tableau and then you want them to shift to Power BI or vice versa even, there is a learning curve associated with it, kind of regardless. So that's a good non-answer for you.
Well, what makes it even more difficult is as new people come in and they say, hey, I need an analytics tool. If I can't get to them first, which is common, IT is saying, hey, we got Power BI, and that's what we have. It just really makes it hard to grow the use of Tableau. And look, certainly Power BI I've seen some great dashboards in Power BI. But personally, I'm trying to continue to grow Tableau. We just made a commitment, to move to Tableau Online. But again, I constantly come up against this resistance of why are we using Tableau and not Power BI? So again, just curious if anybody else is running into the same thing and how you continue to grow the use of Tableau and in a Tableau world when, it's hard when you present something in Tableau, somebody else has something in Power BI. I mean, there's just, it makes for a lot of inconsistencies. So just throwing
anyone else?
Yeah, well, I think we're going through something similar. We happen to be also in the group that's, the nice thing is that Tableau is what we're using essentially as part of the analytics platform. Though we do have a few instances of both Power BI and Click on campus, as well as other kind of smaller analytical tools. So the best thing that we've been doing is actually, I know a lot of work that Judy's been doing, much like this, is we run our own user group on campus that really centrally supports Tableau and the data going into it. We are going to start a project to kind of convert some Power BI dashboards, where I think we've kind of already started, but it's just kind of the best thing I think we found, which may or may not work for you guys, is kind of kill them with friendly, kindness and features. Between the two of them, but you run out of time to do everything. But
yeah,
right, I hear you.
Yeah, thank you.
So I just pinged in the chat a survey link. I know obviously we don't have the full set of people on here that were at the start, but if you do have any feedback or anything, we're always looking for how to improve these sessions. Judy, I know you mentioned some row level security topic that you would be interested in future sessions. So anything like that you guys can share would be greatly appreciated. Yeah. Any other questions? Any other topics people want to bring up? Everyone hungry for lunch as this went through lunch?
Yes.
There we go. All righty.
Thank you, John.
Yes,
great.
Thank you.
And
Thank
Dawn.
you all for joining. Thank you, Dawn, for presenting. Next time, you can get some other presenters in there.
Hey, John, real quick. So
Yep.
the slides that you and Dawn presented, are they available?
They are not anywhere right now.
Okay.
I'll talk with Dawn about where we can get them or share them. This recording will be posted on Tableau's YouTube page, I believe. So we can try and track down that recording as well. I don't know if there's a good place to drop the slides or anything.
Yeah, that's okay. I know Dawn in particular had some links in there. So.
Yep. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.